So earlier this year, I went to Disney World and I rode Tron Light Cycle Run for the first time. And it was really fun. I thought it was a good ride. That's literally all I know about Tron. If you're unfamiliar, the first Tron film came out back in 1982, and it deals with the concept of virtual realities and various gladiatorial type contests that take place within these realities by their users. The first film gained cult status after being distributed by Walt Disney Pictures, and then Disney released a sequel, Tron Legacy, in 2010.
Trogler, I can't allow them to make an independent Quimbly game. It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with.
Meanwhile, the Tron ride at Disney World had been in the works for quite some time, and as a parks enthusiast, it is a much-needed addition to Tomorrowland, but it seemed odd to invest so much time in the concept without a new film in the franchise to go along with it. Well, we finally got one this year, starring Jared Leto. And for Disney, the synergistic rollout of this film didn't quite go as planned. So between Suicide Squad, Morbius, Tron, some other personal controversies that we'll get into, Jared Leto has been the equivalent of box office cancer for quite a while, but it wasn't always like that. Of course, there was a time when he was much more revered as an actor, as a musician, as a professional in Hollywood, even though it seems like that goodwill and fortune has run out. But like a cat, this guy has 9 lives. And it just feels like no matter what he does, the Hollywood machine keeps giving him chances to be the tent pole of their franchises and revive whatever it is they're trying to kick up from the dead. And I don't understand it. Let's talk about it.
What if I wanted to fight? Beg for the rest of my life!
So contrary to what most people think, Jared Leto always wanted to be an actor and was working in Hollywood doing smaller parts, but most people first came to know him as the frontman for the rock band 30 Seconds to Mars, which was founded back in 1998. I was never a big 30 Seconds to Mars person, I knew a lot of people who were, but it appeared that over time they seemed to gain a devoted following. Some may say a cult following.
Leto tells XFM that a fan once sent him their ear in the mail. Someone cut their ear off once and sent it to me. That was very strange. A whole ear. The Van Gogh move. The note just said, "Are you listening?" I never know who it was, who's missing their ear out there. He says. When asked what he did with the ear, Leto says, "I poked a hole in it and wore it as a necklace." Later that month, Leto will post a picture of the alleged ear to his Instagram, and the Hollywood Reporter will claim it's a mass-produced prop called Bill Oberst Jr.'s severed ear.
Now look, I know that fandom can be a powerful thing, it can provide a sense of community for people, especially in online spaces, and I'm sure there are folks out there who will claim that 30 Seconds to Mars and their music have pulled them out of some dark places, and I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. But when a band gets to this level of success and enmeshed behavior with its own fandom, you could argue that it's on the band themselves or whoever is managing them to rein in that element of parasociality, but Jared Leto and company seem to revel in it, encourage it in fact, in some very strange ways.
Ever wonder what it's like to be at the Mars Lab? Want to come see? Even better, want to spend the night? Then we have got the contest for you. Pre-order your copy of Love, Lust, Faith, and Dreams for a chance to be one of 5 winners who will receive an exclusive invitation to the lab for a magical night we are calling The Sleepover. Still want more? Are you ready? One of the 5 winners will spend the night at Jared's house in Jared's very own bed. WTF, yes, it's true. So, pre-order Love, Lust, Faith, and Dreams and be instantly entered to win, travel included. P.S. Did someone say vegan pancakes? Shannon's coffee? Mofo's famous chicken? The possibilities are endless. P.P.S. This contest is open to anyone who pre-orders any CD or bundle. Already pre-ordered? No worries. We'll also be including early believers to possibly win. Pre-order here while you can.
Now, according to some sources, Jared Leto himself didn't even stay over in his own house with the winner of this contest, so do with that information what you will, but Jared very much leaned into the idea that the adoration he was receiving from his legion of fans, nicknamed the Echelon, was cult-like, and there was plenty of evidence to kind of back that up, including encouraging his fans to get tattoos, or later in the 2010s when he would hold an adults weekend festival called Camp Mars, which started out as a fan meetup that would take place in California, and then later shifted to some island in Croatia to satisfy the needs of European fans. This is where a lot of those Jared Leto started a cult rumors first came from, but according to some personal accounts of people who attended Camp Mars, most people who attended this event didn't experience any cult-like behavior, but rather the aesthetic of it. It was clear that Leto wanted to appear that way, embracing these cult-like aesthetics, and also, we've read accounts of what some people at Camp Mars have done. We don't know everything that Jared Leto was doing there, but there's certainly an image of it that he wanted to put out to the world as far as his persona, himself reigning over the Echelon. It's clear that Jared Leto wanted to be revered in this way, not only by his die-hard fans who love his band, but also by society at large and the greater Hollywood ecosystem. And his growing presence in pop culture finally intersected with the world of film prestige in 2013. So that year, Jared Leto won an Oscar for his role in Dallas Buyers Club, a film about a cowboy diagnosed with AIDS who smuggles and distributes experimental drugs to assist in his treatment. In the film, Leto plays a fictional trans woman with AIDS who helps the main character played by Matthew McConaughey. Now, it's important to note that around this time, there was less of a conversation to be had about actors identifying with the roles and experiences of marginalized characters portrayed on film. To put it simply, if this movie were made today, there would probably be likely more of a push for a trans actress to actually play a trans woman on screen. But at this time, Leto was actually lauded and praised for his transformation in the film, losing 30 pounds, waxing his whole body, speaking with trans women to understand their experiences, and refusing to break character. At the time, he was praised for this transformation so much that he actually won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. And while this movie would likely be chastised for being too woke today or whatever, that wasn't really the case back in 2013. If you Google some scenes from this movie and you watch the clips and read the comments, you can see a lot of people from seemingly all different backgrounds, unless they're all bots and this is truly dead internet theory at this point, praising his performance, lifting him up for doing the role justice, putting the right amount of effort and commitment in, as opposed to a lot of the movie stars around that time. The perception there being that he's a cool, eccentric guy who cares a lot about his craft. Almost to a fault.
There has been plenty of speculation over who would even play a character like Harley Quinn or the Joker in DC's recently announced Suicide Squad movie, but wonder no more. Leto, who recently appeared in Dallas Buyers Club and previously depressed my youth in Requiem for a Dream, will play classic Batman villain the Joker, and Robbie will play his on-again, off-again, batshit crazy girlfriend Harley Quinn.
There is a lot of revisionist history when it comes to this point in Jared Leto's career, because we know how this movie and this career move turned out, right? But at the time, I remember people were really excited for this because they were like, oh my god, Heath Ledger left such a gap. Nobody's gonna be able to fill his shoes when it comes to portraying this role. But Jared Leto is a really great choice because he's a method actor and he's got that edge. Not only that, but he's proven his talent. He's an Oscar winner. I remember people thought that it was really good casting before we knew what he looked like and what he sounded like. It was not great casting. Now, the tides quickly turned on this once we saw what Leto looked like as the Joker, this sort of tattooed gangster edgelord, and I could go on a whole diatribe about why this was a bad route to take with the character, but what got more attention than his appearance at first was his controversial method acting techniques, which led some to believe that maybe he was a weird or even bad guy, but at the very least, he didn't have a ton of respect for his coworkers.
Leto's method acting on Suicide Squad also reportedly involved sending unorthodox gifts to his fellow cast members, including live rats and bullets. His co-star Margot Robbie said that he gifted her a live rat, which she stated she kept as a pet until her landlord discovered it. Speaking with Vanity Fair, Viola Davis stated, "He did some bad things, Jared Leto did. He gave some really horrific gifts. He had a henchman who would come into the rehearsal room, and the henchman came in with a dead pig and plopped it on the table, and then he walked out. And that was our introduction to Jared Leto." In an interview with E! News at the film's premiere in 2016, Leto claimed that he also sent anal beads and used condoms to his co-stars, stating, quote, "I did a lot of things to create a dynamic, to create an element of surprise, of spontaneity, and to really break down any kind of walls that may be there. The Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries."
Once the film came out, we all know how this went, right? This movie more or less turned Leto into a meme. The Dallas Buyers Club air of prestige had faded away, and cringy clips of Leto in full Jokerdom made their rounds across the internet. But still, somehow, someway, the Hollywood executives were hellbent on making this guy work for people, on casting him as a franchise star who could carry them to Marvel Money Valhalla. And surely, out of all of the studios just begging to take a shot at this, Sony would be the one that would emerge victorious, right? Right? So if you haven't noticed, I've been having Brian cold read a lot of the cringy things and awful things that Jared Leto has said and done. And as payment for that service, I promised him that he could say one line in this script. Take it away.
Folks, it's Morbin time.
Morbius has managed to come out the gate with reviews that have officially set the film apart from every singular comic book film that came before it, and it's officially the new golden standard for what it means to be the worst comic book film of all time.
Morbius is absolutely miserable. I can completely confirm that everything you've heard about it is absolutely true, and it's even worse than you're probably thinking it is. It's not so bad that it's entertaining like I expected it to be. It is mind-numbingly boring. It was agonizing.
The internet is jumping on the Morb train, sharing relatable memes and, making fun of the movie. Let me understand. You're saying Morbius is the #1 movie in America? No, it's just become a meme, because it's bad. So you're saying they want more. Oh god. BS. No. Get Jared Leto on the phone right now!
If Suicide was the... I meant Suicide Squad. If Suicide Squad was the final blow to the chest, Morbius was the ultimate death knell. I never saw this movie, so I couldn't tell you much about his performance in it, but it was so bad that it became the biggest meme of that year, and the internet more or less tricked Sony into re-releasing it to capitalize on that fanfare, only to have it flop a second time. Maybe you could argue that the movie didn't look that great to begin with, but it was clear that Jared Leto was no longer bringing out the crowds. Nobody wanted to see what kind of creepy method acting he would pull out of his snake-bitten ass next. So there you go, guys, that's what happened. That's how the internet fell out of love with Jared Leto. He made a good movie, and then he was in some bad movies, some real stinkers, and everyone was like, oh, this guy's cringe and he sucks a lot. Surely there's nothing else I'm forgetting.
Jared Leto is speaking out. After the Oscar winner was accused of sexual misconduct by several women online, Jared denies any wrongdoing in response to the allegations, as a rep for the actor details in a statement to Air Mail on June 7th. As for the allegations, 4 women allege they were underage when they began interacting with Jared, who is now 53, and 2 of them have gone on the record.
Since 2005, it has been an open secret that Jared Leto is a predator and a sex pest. It has been alleged that he has sexted underage girls numerous times, that he has forced himself on women who were not consenting, and that he has hooked up with fans on tour. Over the years, this has become so much not a secret that A-list celebrities have been openly referencing it and his behavior in very public social media spaces. It is all but the punchline to a very sick joke. Now, I didn't leave this section for the end because it's not as fun or it's not as relevant. I left it for the end to make the point that I truly believe that if Jared Leto hadn't gone down the cringe rabbit hole with his career choices, if he somehow ended up in some kind of beloved franchise as some top tier character that everyone loves and appreciates and has some sort of special connection to, that even if he had all of these public allegations that are very well known and all of these Hollywood rumors swirling around him, if he had remained somewhat likable in terms of his acting career, nobody would care. they would make excuses for it. One of the things that I've long maintained about this series is that a falling out of love moment can happen for literally any reason, whether it's throwing your bandmate under the bus for an assassination joke or making a bad passion project. It doesn't matter how petty the transgression is, and nor does that mean that they're all equal, but a heel turn can happen essentially at any time. I could have easily started this video like a lot of other Jared Leto videos where creators play this spooky music and really amp up the cult imagery and insist that what's unusual about him is almost supernatural, scary, a horror not of this earth, but that's simply not the reality. He's a creep, but he's a successful creep who has used that position to his advantage for decades at this point. It is literally pure coincidence that his cratering box office record is now coinciding with the internet's perception and recognition of who he has always been as a person. He is unlikable because he is cringe, not because of the years of pain and suffering he has inflicted upon the women around him. How do I know this to be true? Because after everything, all of this being public enough knowledge or a hidden Hollywood secret depending on who you talk to, Disney still gave him another chance.
Tron Ares has a few bugs to work out. The third film in the action franchise opened on top, but made just $33.5 million, well below both its expected debut of $45 to $50 million and the debut of Tron Legacy in 2010.
Maybe Tron didn't flop because of Leto, but you certainly can't argue that he helped. At this point, due to his notorious bullish method acting or his predatory allegations, it's clear that his presence is not inspiring anyone anymore unless you're still a 30 Seconds to Mars fan spending the weekend in Croatia. I guess we can hope that the Hollywood machine will finally learn its lesson with this one. Oh wait, no. He's going to be Skeletor.
I can't remember when I've had a more pleasant day. Until we meet again!
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you missed the announcement last video, Kayla Says is now a podcast. We are currently on Spotify. We are working on getting up on Apple Music as well. This is just an alternative to the visual show. It's the same exact show, just in audio format to make it accessible to folks who want to listen that way. So go check it out. Go connect with me on social media in the link tree in the description down below. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.